This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and LifeLock has tips to protect your identity. Use strong passwords, set up multi-factor authentication, report phishing, and update the software on your devices. And for comprehensive identity protection, let LifeLock alert you to suspicious uses of your personal information. LifeLock also fixes identity theft, guaranteed or your money back. Stay smart, safe, and protected with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Marqeta. When it comes to your payments provider, you can't afford to compromise. Marqeta's modern payment solutions flex with your business without the trade-offs. Stable and agile, secure and innovative, scalable and configurable. If they say you can't have it all, don't believe them. Your business demands more. Choose a payments provider that delivers more. Choose Marqeta. Visit marqeta.com/Spotify to learn more.
Welcome to episode 71 of the Inside Job Boards and Recruitment Marketplaces podcast. I am Stephen Rothberg, one of your co-hosts and the founder of College Recruiter job search site, where we believe that every student and recent grad deserves a great career. My regular co-host, Peter Zollman of the AIM Group, is traveling with his wife. I can't remember if today's one of the days that they're at sea or on land, but they're taking an Italian vacation and cruise. So I think we should all be very upset with them because while we're here doing this podcast thing, they're there eating great seafood wrapped around various types of pasta. So I think they win, we lose. But I am joined today by two of my favorite friends in the recruiting space. Our guest, Jim Stroud, we'll get to him in a minute. And my guest co-host is Chris Russell with RecTech Media. Hey, Chris, maybe tell people a little bit about yourself and what RecTech Media does.
Yeah, purveyor of all things recruitment media, recruitment technology. I kind of cover that space. My job basically is to inform the modern recruiter about what's out there and new and exciting in the world of recruiting technology. So a little off content creation, curation, and consulting for vendors in the space.
Awesome. So some of your clients are job boards.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep. Any of those? Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. So if you're looking for somebody, there's his LinkedIn URL, right?
Probably half my week is spent on job board consulting today. So
cool. And the other half riding e-bikes, but that's another
Exactly.
story for another podcast.
Exactly.
And do you want to introduce today's guest?
Yeah, we got Jim Stroud, the editor at SourceCon, a longtime industry veteran, and I'm glad to see him on the show today.
Yes, thank you. Still here. Been in the game since 1997, what some call the prehistoric era of recruiting. As the editor of SourceCon, I have the privilege of promoting the SourceCon conference, which is the premier conference for all things sourcing since 2007.
Wow.
And been around a long time. So I help organize the conference. I help organize the speakers. I create content on the SourceCon site, which keeps you abreast of all things sourcing. And it is my pleasure to be here.
Awesome. How's it going at SourceCon, Jim?
It's going great, actually. We just had one in Orlando a couple months back, and now we're gearing up for our next conference, which will be in San Diego, October 22nd and 23rd at the Hard Rock Cafe in San Diego. Good times ahead.
Nice.
Awesome. Chris, you want to go with the first question? The guest should go first, right?
All right, sure. So we're talking about sourcing and job boards today, Jim. What do you think the difference is between a sourcer and a recruiter? Let's start there in terms of defining that for the audience.
Sure. Sourcers, they are tasked with finding QIAs, which are qualified, interested, and available candidates. That's typically the definition that most go by. I'll add in one caveat. Sources should find qualified, interested, and available candidates that their client can afford. That's a big difference. A recruiter would then take the relationship that has been started by the sourcer in finding that QIA and taking it to the next level, all the way up to hire.
Interesting. So In my mind, and we were talking about this just briefly before we jumped on, in my mind, I've always thought of sourcers as being more likely to do like resume searching, CV searching, profile searching, recruiters to be more likely when they're using a job board to be posting jobs. That's pretty different. And you definitely know this space better than me, because it sounds to me like a sourcer absolutely could post a job. Is that so? It's like the way that I was looking at it sounds like that's not the best way of looking at it.
No, recruiters will likely be the ones posting the jobs, most likely, although sources could. Recruiters tend to do that. Sourcers look at job boards, I think, as a treasure trove of competitive intelligence. For example, I'll give 3 examples. One is what I call pre-qualification. So if a hiring manager wants a software engineer and you're trying to figure out exactly what the hiring manager wants, but you also want to make an easy search for you, then you could say go to Microsoft's career site or to their job board, and you see the qualifications and requirements that they need for someone who has the job title of programmer one, right? I could then take that job description to my client, remove the Microsoft name and references off of it, and say, is this the kind of person that you want? And they'll look at it and go, oh yeah, this person has so many years of experience in this, they're skilled in these software tools. Yes, this is the person that I want. Great. Now that tells me as a sourcer, go find someone at Microsoft with this job title. Client has already said that it's someone they want. An easy search for me. So I would do that first with some of the larger Fortune 500 companies, the 10,000 plus employee type companies, because there are more of those type of folks out there, which make my search as a sourcer that much easier. And since the client says they want somebody with this background, I know I'm good to go there. So that's one. Another example is I look at jobs on job boards to see where they're located. If there are a lot of jobs coming up from a competitor in a certain location, that lets me know that the company is expanding in that area. And if they're expanding in that area for a certain type of skill set, and we are competing in that same area for the same type of talent, then I need to ramp up my efforts because the competition is about to get even more strenuous in that area.
Welcome to the Hire Her podcast, where women in talent call all the shots. We know, another recruiting podcast, just what the industry needs. Okay, but hear us out. You ever spend hours sourcing that perfect candidate, but they end up ghosting you harder than your hinge date? Or finally, you get that hiring manager feedback, only for them to, of course, say, can we see more candidates? Lame, right? But let's talk about what's really lame in the industry. How is it that 65% of recruiters are brilliant women, yet most of the decision makers look like a convention for middle-aged dudes named Brad?
That's where we come in. Hire Her isn't just another podcast about hiring trends you already heard like 50 times this week. We're here to elevate women in talent, share their career journeys, and make sure they take the lead. Because let's face it, if recruiting is the backbone of every company, why are we still fighting for a seat at the table? So whether you're a recruiter, a talent leader, or just someone trying to swim through the sausage fest of TA leadership, we got you, girl. Welcome to Hire Her, the recruiting podcast where women's voices aren't just heard, but they're leading the conversation.
So subscribe now, because middle management Brad sure as hell isn't going to do it for you.
Something else I would look at a job board for is I could figure out what their tech stack is by the type of things they're asking. I can tell what they may be planning to build based on what they're asking from for the people who are applying. Since jobs are now posting their salaries on a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them are posting their salaries. That's great benchmarking data. So I can say, I see where my competitors are paying X amount of dollars. If I'm going to be competitive, I need to pay at least that amount or more. If I see that they are hiring more contract people than full-time people, that tells me that they may be launching several short-term projects, or they have a very flexible workforce strategy. But if they have more full-time roles than contract roles, then it lets me know they're doing more of a long-term investment in their staff. I think that's more than 3, but those are the ones top of mind. And I can list others if you want, but that was top of mind.
Jim, how aggressive are sourcers, do you think, when it comes to leveraging the big resume databases out there from Indeed, ZipRecruiter? Is it a daily thing? Give me some sense there. And also, have you ever seen something called resume alerts on any of these job boards where you basically like a reverse job board almost?
Yeah, I think one thing, for better or worse, and I've seen this across the board, no matter they're a novice or a seasoned professional, a lot of times when a new job is posted, they go to LinkedIn and then Indeed and then the job board, so forth, rather than going to their own applicant tracking system, which is my pet peeve. I would say look at the people who've applied to the job first, but they don't do that. It's like a crazy reflex. I sort of liken it to going into a nightclub and you're single and 3 women come up to you and they start flirting with you and you say, no, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to all these other women out here who don't know I exist and express no interest in me. That is where I'm spending my time. So that's just like it's just a little pet peeve of mine. But
Jimmy
that
baby.
is,
Chris, am I hearing correctly that Jim is basically saying that he really has no interest in talking to people who might be attracted to him? Is that a fair? Okay,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
Well, for whatever reason, that is just ingrained in a lot of recruiters from novice to senior. The automatic reflex is to go to job boards and LinkedIn before looking at an applicant tracking system for whatever reason. That's what they do. So yeah, I think I figured out the question in that.
Yeah. How much of these big databases are part of their daily task?
Okay.
Searching, would you say?
Yeah, I would say a lot, because a lot in terms of the different tools that are out there that go to different job boards and make it easier to search multiple job boards from one space. So whether they go manually one-to-one, maybe not a lot, but through tools that a lot of sources use.
Yeah, I saw HireEasy just announced
a
a
lot.
partnership with Monster and I think CV Library and a few others to bring in those resume data. That was a great idea, just for more data for the sourcers there.
Exactly. So yeah, quite a bit to answer that question.
Cool, yeah. And I think for job boards, Stephen, I think that's a good feature to have, like kind of reverse job alert system for the sourcer recruiter as a resume alerts. When a new resume comes on and matches X number of keywords or skills, whatever, shoot that out to the recruiter.
Yeah. I could totally see that for a sourcer or recruiter that, in the next couple of weeks, I want to find this person, because they could sign up for an alert, get an alert, once a day for the next 14 days or whatever it might be, and then unsubscribe or inactivate it or whatever word that job board uses. But I bet if you're talking about somebody like Microsoft and they're hiring like a certain kind of software engineer, they're hiring that kind of person every single day, over and over and over again. So I would think in that case, they want that alert set up for a long time. I think we've got time for one more question, and I want to sort of build on what Chris was just sort of asking about in terms of like products that job boards can offer. So our viewers are mostly leaders of job boards. Look to the future, Jim. If you were running a job board and wanted to do more business with sourcers, what sort of products would you want to offer moving forward in this era of AI and generative, like the chat GPTs? What should job boards be offering moving forward?
Super personal or hyper personalization, right? If I go to Amazon, if I look at a book, they're going to tell me, if you like this book, here are 3 other books that you like, right? I would like to see something in the future where job boards are so specific to a person that they're able to craft a job description specifically for me personally, right? Maybe they take some information from my Facebook history. Maybe they see how I maneuver online because of cookies from X or some other social media platform. And they say, okay, since Jim has bought these books and he goes to these websites, this is generally his type of interest. So let me fashion this job description that fits his personality and his interest level. So that may come across as I get an email saying, "Hey Jim, um, we are building the next version of the Iron Man exoskeleton suit here at Ford, right? So that people working on our cars can work longer and protect their backs, things like that. So we know that you have the skills to build such an exoskeleton. We want to take it to the next level. We want it to be like Iron Man. So you imagine any kind of suit Tony Stark would put together. That's the kind of suit we want to put together. We know you have a background in robotics. We know you built exoskeletons in the past. We know that you have an interest in Marvel comics based on all the Marvel websites you've been to. So will you help us build the next Iron Man? That would appeal to me personally. Whereas it may go to Chris and says, "Hey, Chris, we are building the next exoskeleton suit here at Ford to protect our workers. We have so many patents on this already. We know that you've applied for patents in the past. We know that you have an interest in patent technology. So if you want to come work for us and maybe we could help finance your next patent on behalf of the company, please apply to this job to be an exoskeleton developer." What have you.
Yeah, I think you're talking about like a persona-based job description that's kind of dynamic based on the individual viewing it, right?
Exactly that. But not only that, maybe take it a step further too and use personality tests like maybe Myers-Briggs, right? And someone who is, say, a bartender has an outgoing personality, they would be I don't know, MBTI or whatever it is. And so the job board would know to put a psychological spin on the job description that it would appeal to that particular Myers-Briggs personality type, which stereotypically fits the personality type of a bartender, so that it'll appeal to someone to that personality. Yeah. So personality type driven job descriptions I like to see as well in the future.
Very cool. Well, guys, we are, unfortunately, we're out of time. Very interesting. Closing note for me is that I just noted that Jim was talking about that job for either Jim or Chris, not me. And I think that the reason he left me out is because he knows that the manufacturer would want to keep their workers' comp costs down. Because if I'm involved, we would be in trouble. Gents, awesome. For people who want to know more about Jim or SourceCon, got his LinkedIn URL right there. Chris, thank you so much for pinch hitting.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Peter,
Anytime.
hopefully your vacation's going well. And
Monty,
Jim,
Peter.
you're awesome.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.